Hooked on feeling. So this is it. This is the start of the fantasy wars. The streaming wars have been going on, but the fantasy adaptation wars, the wave that's coming down the road, caused by the initial splash of A Song of Ice and Fire, begins now with the first episode in BBC's His Dark Materials, one that I've been pretty excited for. It's been somewhat overshadowed for me by the upcoming Witcher, the upcoming Lord of the Rings, the upcoming Wheel of Time, King Killer. But as this has gotten closer and we've seen more in terms of trailers, and the opening sequence was released yesterday, I got more and more interested. And I do love the source material. His Dark Materials is a masterpiece. And I was worried I wasn't going to be able to watch this until tonight, but then I remembered I have a VPN, so as far as the internet's concerned, I'm a proud member of the UK. God save the Queen, Brexit and tea. And I do want you guys to keep one thing in mind when I'm doing these fantasy adaptation reviews. I am not an expert in television or movies. I have never claimed to be. I'm a book nerd. So my perspective for these adaptation reviews is going to be from someone who is a fantasy fan of the source material first. There are 100, if not 1,000 other YouTubers out there who will do a good job reviewing these shows, but a lot of them haven't read the books or know a whole lot about the genre. That's my full-time job. So that's the perspective I'm going to be coming at for these. I'm not going to judge them harshly for diverging from the source material, but I will be judging them on why they did it. Was it a good choice? And of course, other general things I enjoyed or didn't enjoy about the show. So just keep that in mind. I'm trying to give you a different angle for my review, and hopefully it'll pay off. I believe it will. So with saying that, let's jump into this review of His Dark Materials.
Some 12 months ago, and this is the first of the discoveries I made. A myriad of worlds, of which the Magisterium controls only one.
If this is the beginning of the fantasy wars, the bar is set high. This will be a spoiler-free review. Don't worry, I'm not going to get into the details of the episode. I'll do spoiler stuff once the season is over. But performance-wise, Daphne Keane and James McAvoy, of course, are brilliant. I have complete faith in James McAvoy. He's one of my favorite working actors. The guy is truly just unbelievable at bringing any character to the screen, and his portrayal of Lord Asriel is only somewhat overshadowed, amazingly, by Daphne Keene's portrayal of Lyra. She is Lyra. Since her casting was first announced, I just went, yes. 100%, she embodies the character from the page here. A strong-willed, very clever, angry child who wants nothing more than to adventure and explore the world, but is placed in extraordinarily dangerous circumstances. So those two performances, I was already pretty sure were going to be stellar, and they are. But the brief amount of time we got to spend with Mrs. Coulter, I was also very happy with. That performance has that subtle, unnerving, oh, you seem amazing, but why am I clenching? Why am I clenching, Mrs. Coulter?
The master has asked if I can find a place for you, and I want you as my assistant.
You're an explorer too, just like my uncle.
I can teach you to wield power, but you must let me mold you.
And in terms of that vibe, done right. Now, His Dark Materials is in a large way a mystery fantasy series. There are mysteries that permeate the pages that we slowly unravel the answers to. And I think this pilot did a pretty good job of setting those up. I tried to watch this with two lenses, someone who has read the book and someone who hasn't. And if I hadn't read the book, I believe I would certainly be intrigued by the questions asked. The set designs, I think, were really nice, but I can't speak on those super in depth. They looked good to me. They looked era appropriate, and nothing actually from the beginning to the end of the episode jolted me out of the world they were crafting, and I believe the world was crafted very well and true to the source material. The only things that stuck out to me were a couple of shots that were CG that clearly needed a couple more pass-throughs in terms of making it look absolutely realistic. Shots with demons and one with an airship especially, where it just felt completely out of place to me. And as someone who has been a bit nerdy with special effects recently, I can't really speak on what was wrong with it, but I can tell there were other shots that were completely CG that I bought and believed on the screen, so I don't really know why these few slipped through and just didn't look quite as good, but not bad by any means. There was a chaoticness to the camera work that I really think matched the tone they were going for here. It is a more mysterious tone with this constantly switching between handheld and stable camera, made me kind of feel off-put as a viewer in a way that I actually really enjoyed. It made me relate to Lyra's position as a child who wants so much more, but is clearly still a kid who's afraid and nervous. Now, the best and worst moments from this episode, to me, actually come both from James McAvoy. The best was his presentation.
War raging right now with the Magisterium, between those trying to keep us in ignorance and those willing to fight for truth and freedom.
And he delivered one line, and minor spoilers for this one line completely out of context. Instead of saying, "Who will stand with me?" he delivered the line, "Who will stand against me?" in a way where I just went, You're a badass and I like you a lot. That was great. But then they also had a line that I didn't quite love where James McAvoy essentially screams down at a child, "Everybody's special," or "Everyone's special," something along that. And it was not great. That was probably the worst line of the episode, but not horrible, and didn't, again, ruin anything for me. It just felt a little out of place. I really loved the introduction of the Egyptians right away. We get quite a bit of them in this episode, more than I was expecting, and their culture is kind of subtly delivered and developed in the background while they were getting a ceremony very up front, and there's clearly shots of like, this is important, that's important. If you also just kind of pause and look around, which I'm nerdy enough to do, at what's happening in the back, they've clearly put effort into the wardrobe of every extra. They feel like a separate people, very well realized and developed from the people that Lyra's around, the scholars, the academics, the magisterium. In summation, I think the performances were the highlight. Of course, you have James McAvoy, so that's pretty much just safe. He's going to be a great 0 point in terms of performances. I've never seen the man deliver a bad performance. Daphne Keane, stellar job. I had faith as her as Lyra, and that faith has been proven to be correct because I totally dug what she brought to the character. And despite only ever having seen her in Logan before this, now that she's actually delivering quite a bit of dialogue, she definitely proves her merits all the way to her core. Culture was really well done as well. I don't know that much about that actress, so I can't speak on her, aside from just going, yes! Now, there has been another adaptation for His Dark Materials, probably the elephant in many rooms in the development of this show. And what I can say is this one trumps that one pretty much by default, from just how much more accurate and true in many ways they're being to this source material. And a TV show, of course, just has an advantage where they're able to do that. But they also, in many ways, over-fantasized His Dark Material in that movie, bringing in things that just did not need to be there. And I think they are being much more true in this adaptation in terms of actually the level of fantasy elements that are existing here as well. And as a fantasy fan, I actually really appreciate that. Don't alter a source material to be more or less fantastical just because you think it'll appease audiences. I want there to be a true level to the book of the fantasy pretty much across the board. I praised the Witcher trailer for that recently. They clearly showed they were embracing the magical elements of that story, and I love that, and I'm going to continue that praise over here for HDM. Now here's my bold claim. If the entire first season is as good as episode 1 was here, and they maintain that level of quality, this adaptation will be viewed on the same level of Lord of the Rings movies are for the Lord of the Rings. Same thing with Harry Potter. The way the Harry Potter movies are the definitive, this is Harry Potter, and fans would be furious if they tried to do it again. I believe this TV show could do that. What we're seeing here is we don't know the fully baked cake. We don't know how season 1 will look, but we do know all the ingredients are in place. Let's just cook this season right. And that's my review of episode 1 of His Dark Materials. Absolutely worth your time and checking out. It's going to be on HBO tonight if you're in America, and if you're in the UK, it's already on BBC, available to you for free. Anyway, guys, like and subscribe if you have not already. Hit the Patreon if you want to support what I do here, and let me know what you thought of the first episode of the His Dark Materials adaptation in the comments down below. Like and subscribe if you've not already. Hit the Patreon. I think I already said that. Have a good one, y'all. Peace. I do owe some people a explanation real quick. I do plan on doing another video for the writing competition. I don't know how many more of those I'm going to do, but I do plan on doing them at least for a couple more. And I want to do it at the same time I do an unboxing because I want those to be a tied together series. And I can't do this next unboxing until I hear back from a camp I'm in touch with who sent me something early I'd love to show, but I don't know if I can. So no, I'm not ignoring y'all, I've not forgot y'all, it's in the works. I just need to get an email in response, and I'm kind of being left in the dust. So I will as soon as if I don't hear back in like a day or two, I'll just do it without it, and that'll be that.